Welcome back, guys. You would not exist, and neither would anyone you have ever known. That is not hyperbole. It is not a guess. Speech rewired your entire species. Without speech, your ancestors could not plan beyond what they could see and point at in that moment. A hunt happening tomorrow was impossible to imagine without words to hold it. You can invent a signal for danger right now, but you cannot invent one for danger that might come next season. Every generation had to restart survival from because knowledge could not be passed down. A mother could show her child which roots were safe to eat, and the child would remember that one time she showed him. But he could not explain to his own children why those roots were safe, or remember which ones to avoid years later. So what changed when language finally arrived? Meet near the river when the sun rises, and we will hunt the deer across the grasslands. That sentence was impossible without words to hold it. Suddenly, your ancestors could plan. This happened just minutes ago in evolutionary time. Knowledge could now persist beyond a single death. Your grandfather could teach your father which plants healed fevers, and your father could teach you, and you could teach your children, and on and on. But that is just the beginning of the real change. Speech did something else that nobody had planned for. Once you could tell someone about the past and the future, you could also argue about it. You could say the hunt should happen at dawn, and someone else could say no. Sunset is better, and you could test both ideas instead of just doing what the strongest person said. That is the moment everything changed. Competition for better ideas replaced brute as the real currency of survival. The smartest person in the group did not need to be the strongest. Alone could not win an argument anymore. This shift sounds small, but it changed which humans survived to have children. A person with a better idea about which berries to pick or where to find water had a real edge in survival, could now persuade others instead of being punched. Suddenly, intelligence itself passed down to the next generation. It mattered for survival. Not muscle memory or instinct, but actual thinking, the ability to solve a problem no one in your group had ever seen and figure it out right then. Language made that possible because thinking happens in words. You cannot think without them, the same way you cannot swim without water around you. Your ancestors never developed abstract reasoning without that tool. Remove this sentence entirely, the lion example was already fully established earlier. No words meant no pattern to hold. They solved that one moment, then forgot it happened next season. Each encounter stood alone, a single moment with no connection to anything else. This is not a small difference. It is the gap between your brain and a hard drive with no programs to run. Your ancestors had brains. They just could not use them the way you do. When humans without language started developing language, they did not suddenly become smarter in some magical way. They had the same brain you do, the same processing power, the same capacity for memory and reason. What speech gave them was not a smarter brain. It was a tool. Think of it like this. You have a library inside your skull with trillions of pieces of information, but without language, you had no way to find anything in it. Language was the filing system that made the library work. Once you could organize knowledge in words, you could also lie. Not by accident, the way a gesture might confuse someone, but on purpose, knowing they would believe something false. This sounds like a flaw, but it was actually an edge for survival. A hunter could claim he found water upstream when he actually found it sending his rivals away instead. He drank more, and his family survived better because of it. He was more likely to have children. So every group that developed language also developed better liars. But here is where it gets interesting. The moment someone became better at lying, everyone else had to become better at detecting lies themselves. This arms race has run for tens of thousands of years. You are the product of that. Your ability to read someone's face for dishonesty, to catch a contradiction they did not think you heard, to lie convincingly enough that someone will trust your words, all of that is you. Language did not just let you plan for tomorrow. It let you shape what someone else believes about tomorrow. And that ability to deceive your own group is where things get complicated. because now survival depended on more than knowing the truth. It depended on knowing when someone was telling you lies. Trust became a weapon, and betrayal became fatal. This is not a small thing. A person who believed every lie someone told them would trust the wrong hunter and starve. But total suspicion kills you too. A person who believes no one never cooperates with anyone. So evolution found a middle path. Your brain had to learn which lies were safe to believe. You needed a system to track who was trustworthy and who was not. That system has a name. Reputation. It runs inside your head right now, every day. Your brain keeps a ledger of every person you know. This is already fully established in the previous sentence remove to avoid immediate restatement, and it updates constantly with new information every day. When someone lies to you, your brain does not erase them. Instead, it marks their entry unreliable. Your skepticism ratchets up the next time they talk. None of this is conscious. You are not sitting down calculating their trustworthiness as a number. Your gut tenses a little when they speak to you. Your eyes narrow, you listen shallower and faster. You have become a lie detector built by thousands of years of being deceived and learning from it. This system is ancient inside you. It runs without you even knowing. But reputation is not finished yet. Reputation is not just about catching lies. It is about tracking who knows what. When someone tells you they visited a place you have not, you are updating your mental map. A ledger of who knows what. This system has a name, theory of mind. Your ancestors without language never developed it. Without words, you could never know what someone else was thinking. You could see where they were looking, but not where their mind was. Language gave you that access. Someone could tell you a story. You could listen and imagine what they imagined. You could build a model of their mind. What they know, what they want, what they believe. That model is how you survive groups. It is how you know who to trust with your life. Without it, you are alone in a crowd. Language made that impossible to break. To other people's private worlds. Someone could tell you they were afraid of the forest because their father died there, and suddenly you understood something about them that no amount of watching could ever show you. This was the birth of empathy, or at least a working model of it. Without language, you could feel sorry for someone, maybe, if you saw them hurt, but you could never hold their pain inside your own mind. You were not born knowing how to read faces or track reputation. You inherited it from 50,000 years of ancestors who had to survive by reading lies. Every time you doubt someone who is being too friendly, that doubt reaches back 50,000 years. Every time your stomach tightens when someone tells you a story that sounds just a little too perfect, that feeling is thousands of generations telling you to check their facts. But here is the darker part of this inheritance. Without language, none of this would have happened at all. Your ancestors without speech could not lie because they had no way to lie with words. They could point in the wrong direction, hide where the food was, but they could never plan a lie, never tell a false story to someone across the fire, never build power through deception. Without language, the world was transparent, and everyone could see what everyone else wanted because there was no way to hide it. But the moment humans could speak, they could also hide the truth inside words, and everything shifted instantly. Your doubt, your face reading your suspicion of stories that sound too perfect, all of it came from thousands of generations learning to survive lies.